Alrighty, hello folks. We are live. Apologies for the delay, but we are watching the classical game here with Hans and Anish. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. If you don't know me, I'm Kostia. I'm an international master over from the dojo, chess dojo, and with me is Grandmaster Amin. How are you doing?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm good, thank you. Um, yeah, you guys know me probably from the previous streams. Yeah, and we're live one more time. I was not supposed to join today, but yeah, now I'm here. Um, I see so far Hans is doing well, which is good news. So yeah, let's jump into it.
Yeah, I'm glad we looks like we got the camera back and everything. Maybe I'll just play through the first couple moves, like for us, anyone that hasn't seen the game yet. So I've been following this match, but of course I haven't been doing I'm doing commentary for it, so I haven't been seeing it too closely. But as far as I understand, Hans is leading right now. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. He drew the first game, and I mean today he drew the first game today, and he has won two classical games. Anish has won one, and the rest of the games were draw. So he's up by one in classical games.
By one
Yeah,
classical
it's
game.
some. I mean, it's a. We can maybe just look at the opening briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Berlin.
So it's a Berlin defense, a very well-known line, known as a Berlin Wall. Um, so Bishop c5 c3 is basically to stop knight d4. There are
Hmm.
other moves such as short castle, uh, but after knight d4, black is completely fine. So c3 is a prophylactic move.
Hmm.
Castle, d6, all very natural. h3, bishop b6. I'm not really familiar with this move. I recently I had a game against Svidler. I played h6 here instead of bishop
Hmm.
b6, which is also fine. But I would assume that bishop b6 is also fine because it's a prophylactic move. Next, you want to go knight d7, knight g6.
Right.
The reason that you don't start with knight d7 is that white will play d4, and yeah, this might be an issue.
Hmm.
Although I'm not sure, but this could be a reason.
Right.
Therefore, you start with bishop b6 to avoid d4, and the next move you want to play knight d7. So bishop
Hmm.
b6, um, rook e1, knight d7, as expected, d4, c6. And yeah, here I'm really surprised by Anish's decision to take on e5. Obviously, he doesn't want to play for draw or anything like that, but I believe that keeping the center would make a lot more sense in terms of keeping your winning chances alive. So, for example, something like bishop f1 would be my main consideration.
Hmm.
Also, bishop d3, so that your next moves are going to be a4, knight d2, knight c4, and you keep all the pieces. Then yeah, you try to outplay your opponent. But Anish decided to take on e5, um,
Yeah.
e5. I decided to trade the queens,
After a
which
long think too, I'll just say if the clocks are right, it looks like he spent 18 minutes on DE.
yeah, yeah, which still is playable. I mean, it doesn't mean that Anish wants to make draw. I've seen so many games that black got outplayed. Black got
Hmm.
outplayed in this position, but like very similar position. So yeah, but definitely black feels comfortable here. So knight g6, I think he played. Yeah. So
Hmm.
a4 natural, a5, knight d2. Yeah, so basically, yeah, it's not very easy. So yeah, we have similar lines to this. The other line that you get a very similar structure is I don't want to really jump to that, but it's like Caro-Kann with knight f3 d3, which basically, I mean, just because it's an endgame and it's a symmetrical position doesn't mean that it's a draw. White still has chances to play. And yeah, after h6, this knight c4 followed by bishop e3 looks a bit dangerous for black.
Yeah.
Because white always have exactly the ideas of going knight b6 and trying to dominate. So knight takes e4, I assume doesn't work due to bishop b6.
Hmm.
It's a blunder, and black will lose a piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you don't have rook a6 because of the bishop on f1.
Hmm.
Also knight takes it, yeah, for sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah, sorry, my bad. Still
yeah,
early for me.
yeah, both are fine. Both are fine. So yeah, what did he play here? Bishop e6.
So bishop e6, and if I was looking at the game here for a bit, I think Hans was spending some time on this move, bishop e6,
Okay.
and bishop b6.
Okay, bishop b6 is a surprising move to me. Um, it's definitely a move. But I was thinking, I'm not sure. But instead of bishop e6, can you go back? I was thinking
Yeah.
maybe. Well, actually, black is threatening to play b5, maybe, or although I'm not sure. So I was thinking
Hmm.
if I could get knight d2, knight b3, knight c5, that would be great. But the problem is that I'm actually not sure. Yeah, the problem is that after knight d2, black has b5, I believe directly. So
Hmm.
uh, or maybe not. Maybe knight d2 is a good move. Um, the idea is knight b3 next move, and then knight c5.
Right.
Um, and also maybe later on f3 to protect the e4 pawn. But yeah, I mean there are many ideas here. Um, yeah, I would have definitely considered knight d2. So bishop
Right.
b6.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so what happened? Takes rook b.
Takes, yeah, and rook
All right.
b8.
Okay, so I think originally Anish's plan was to play bishop c4 here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Bishop c4 could be met by actually I don't know. Maybe bishop c4 knight d7, but I'm not sure because bishop takes e6. Um, sorry, not bishop e6. Knight takes d7. So yeah, I'm curious. What is Anish's idea? What do you think? What do you think is Anish's idea here?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I was just looking at the video for a bit, and Anish was like, he wasn't even looking at the board. He was looking just like into the distance. So he's going very deep here about something. Um, yeah, I guess my my first thought here would be, to just like put a rook on the d file, but I see that like bishop b3 could be an issue, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
for white. So like rook d1, bishop b3 doesn't seem very appealing. So
Mm.
if not that, then like bishop c4 would be the next move. But mm,
Yeah, I think bishop c4 is definitely the main option for white. Um, it's the most critical move. Um, and I'm not sure how should black deal with it because after bishop c4, maybe we can put it on the board.
mhm.
At first, I thought maybe black wants to go knight d7. The thing is that there is knight takes d7,
Right.
and maybe you just take with bishop and everything's fine. Like bishop takes d7,
Hmm.
and then later on maybe king f8, king e7, followed by bishop e6. So yeah, um, yeah. If bishop c4 is not working, then bishop d6 uh, would probably be a mistake. Because otherwise, I don't see how white is going to continue instead of bishop c4. Maybe b4.
Mm.
Uh, so later on with the
Yeah.
idea of take then a5. But yeah,
Yeah.
looks very drawish. Looks very boring. Um, I
Hmm.
don't see Hans losing this game to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah. How would you say he's played so far in the match, like in the classical games?
Well, the first game I just checked it briefly and was very shaky. And I'm sure she's very disappointed to not win that game. At some point, so they got into a very complex endgame,
Mhm.
and Anish managed to outplay him. But then at some point he made a very dubious decision to take on a four, and after that it was just a clean draw.
Mm.
But before that, Hans was getting outplayed completely. But yeah, he managed to survive, which is great for him. Now, um, yeah, I don't see. Well, this game I don't see much happening to be honest. It just
So
looks like an easy.
we got b4, which is interesting. So it looks like, yeah, that was Anish's idea to try and push this.
Yeah, I would probably just take Angle 97.
Mm-hmm.
That would
97.
be my main consideration. So let's say if you take on d7, just after rook
Yeah.
d7, it's really not much. Like you go probably a5 here.
Right.
and you probably have a slightly better pawn structure, but it's really not much. Like I would go f6,
Mm-hmm.
protect the a pawn, and then later on reroute the knight maybe to e7, even c8, a7, b5, or e7, c8, d6. Um,
Yeah.
Not much is happening here. Black is extremely solid. It's good enough to make a draw.
Yeah, I don't see how white like achieves anything here. The knight is just like you need the knight on c5
Yeah,
to like
for sure. But yeah,
start
it's a
doing
long way
something.
to get there. Especially now, you cannot really go knight d2.
Right.
It's very different. Even you cannot go knight d3 because the bishop is on e6. So it's almost impossible.
Yeah. Let me. Oh, it looks like we got moves. So b4 takes c takes b4, and yeah, now we were expecting 97 here. So let me see. Oh, I think we lost Amin for a sec. I'm sure he'll be back soon, folks. In the meantime, hello to chat. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Fascinating match they've got here. I mean, looks like the setup is nice, and they've got some live spectators too. I believe they're playing. Where is it in Utrecht, right? No idea if I'm saying that correctly. And right now, it looks like yeah, Hans is thinking how exactly to defend this because Amin was saying white is maybe pushing a bit, but for the most part, black should be able to draw or to hold it. Good question. Is this a match between where they play some rapid matches and now classical? So yeah, they started with Blitz, if I understand correctly. And then they're playing. This is, I think, their sixth classical game. Chat, help me out. And then they're going to be playing rapid games starting, I want to say tomorrow. And I think the games are weighted differently. So if I understand correctly, again, the classical game should be weighed more than a rapid or a blitz game. But I don't know the exact breakdown of what everything is worth. The CH is pronounced with a Dutch G. Uh-oh. What would be a Dutch G? Is that like an English G? Or what would be like another word or city that uses that sound? So 3 points for classical, 2 points for rapid, one for blitz. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, right now Hans is leading the match 16 and a half, 10 and a half, because he won a couple classical games. So he gets 3 points for each. And but that still doesn't mean Anish can still bounce back. Number one, if he wins this game, then he'll only be 3 points down, and then they'll be playing a bunch of rapid games. So it's Utrecht. Starts with a G. I'm not sure. People asking if I've met Hans. I actually met both of these players here in St. Louis. Oh, as you do see King F8. Okay, so Ahmed actually was expecting 97. And to me, that move made a lot of sense too, just because like you're challenging the knight on b6, which is the most active piece in white's position. And it's kind of dominating black's rook. So it makes a lot of sense to just challenge with knight to d7. But I'm not sure exactly what Anish didn't or what Hans didn't like about that move. Maybe knight d7, knight c4, and black doesn't really want to give up the bishop. So like knight c4, and okay, I think white keeps some pressure. The knight can go to d6, or he got still a5. So king f8 instead. King f8 looks very normal to me. Just bringing the king into the center. Now that we have the endgame, there doesn't seem to be too many There's still a lot of pieces on the board, so you don't want your king like out and about. But on e7, it can like help fight for the d file. It can help control some squares. So this is just kind of like a basic and simple improving move that you typically see. But okay, imagine white just plays a5. That seems to be like his idea. But even there, it's like hard to. I think what Amin and I were thinking is just like we don't really see a clear plan for white to break through. because you have a couple pawn breaks, but they just seem to trade off pawns. Like if you go a6, okay, black takes, and then stuff is going to hang on the b file. And if b5, then again black can take, and white is not really creating any kind of like weakness or infiltration into the black position. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, eval bar definitely likes white a little bit here. I'll be honest with you guys, though. I don't trust the eval bar on the events page. I think it's just like not a really high level. In fact, I would expect Amin probably can like outcalculate it in a lot of cases. Just from my experience using it, it like shows you an eval, then you make the top move, and the eval just like changes. And yeah, computer doesn't seem to be really too stable. But it is liking white, and so there should be something. Um,
Am I live?
hey, yeah, I think we're back.
Okay, okay, okay. Just do it right now.
All right, we're gonna get Amin back. Check the camera still on. Anisha's back to thinking, and yeah, he's going down on the clock. He's already 15 minutes behind, and he's continuing to tank. And oh, time control. There's no second time control for this one, right? It's just 90 plus 30. So yeah, at some point he's going to have to pick it up and start making some progress. But yeah, lots of possible moves here for white. Again, I was just thinking like a5 is the most natural move, but okay, clearly maybe you have other ideas here. Again, like bishop c4, knight c4,
Yeah, I think I'm
g3.
back. Am I back in the?
It's always possible. Yeah, I think you're back.
Yeah, sorry, my laptop just crashed. I don't know what happened.
Oh, no worries. All good. We basically had one move, king f8, and here we are back in the
Well,
same.
I'm kind of surprised by King F8, even though it's a very
Yeah.
natural move, but I don't really understand why not 97.
So
Um,
my best guess was like 97, maybe knight c4 would have been the answer.
Probably, yeah, it's possible. Yeah, maybe.
And and then maybe he wanted to go like king e7 in this position. I'm
Hmm.
not really sure. But that, yeah, that's as far as I got.
Yeah. No, yeah, yeah, okay, makes sense. Yeah, King F8 also very natural.
Yeah, and here, okay, it doesn't seem like much has changed. Like, okay, white can still play a5, but I still don't get like what white is doing. Yeah, black puts the king on e7, and then how does Giri make progress?
Um,
Oh,
G3, wow,
g3. Okay.
very, very classy. Um, yeah, probably some H4 at some point. Very prophylactic. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
looks okay. He's playing for like the full squeeze. Like this is gonna be a long grind.
Well, the thing is that also I'm surprised by Anish is not A5. That like the by the fact that Anish didn't play A5.
Hmm.
G3 is very natural as well. H4 is on the agenda for sure. Um, yeah, probably. I mean, both sides are not doing much, so it's a good prophylactic waiting move. Probably Hans will play King E7 and then A5, and then Knight E7 will be bet by Knight C4 as you pointed out earlier. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, very very slow game. Thing is that probably Anish doesn't want to play A5 because maybe he's afraid of Knight E8 followed by Knight C7. So then Black will have the blockade over
Hmm.
B5 and A6 squares.
So you don't
Probably
want to
that's
commit to this just yet.
but yeah. Other than that, I don't see why wouldn't he play A5. Um, yeah, I did exactly.
Oh, so he's anticipating this. Is there any position where white would go b5? Does that ever make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that makes sense, but maybe not now because it will be met by CB. Though I'm not sure. CB AB rook comes to A7. B5 is also always an idea because C5 is a terrible move after B5. Um, then we will have
Mm,
like A5, A6, and then you blockade the C4 square. Also, you cannot allow white to take on C6 because then after BC6, well, we'll have this very strong pass pawn.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, definitely an option to be considered. And yeah, why not actually? I kind of like it. Thing is that you
Yeah.
can also go
Mhm.
H4 here, but H4
Mhm.
will be probably met by Bishop G4.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
unpleasant.
yeah. Not sure how to evaluate that.
I guess there's like King G2, but
Yeah. Then later on, maybe knight H2 with the idea of H5.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I'm starting to like White's position. Mm. H4 is a nice move to be considered.
Oh, interesting. So you're feeling the squeeze. You're feeling like Giri
Yeah,
can get something here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But H4
Mhm.
probably he wants to play F6.
Mhm.
Like at the very least, black has F6 and then H5 97, and then these positions are always quite tricky. Maybe you can put it on the board.
Yeah. So H4,
Or let's say
F6.
F6, H5 97.
Right.
So it looks like an amazing pawn structure for white because now you cannot go G6. You always have ideas of knight H4. But thing is that it can always also be a weakness on H5. So you never know. Like for example, the next move for white for black would be Bishop G4.
Right.
Um, it's difficult to say if it's an asset for white or if it's just a weakness. So yeah, these decisions are always quite. It's hard to understand whether it's good or not. Um,
Yeah. And then
but
this one is
instead, I
coming
mean, white has
C8.
yeah, exactly. Knight C8 is also coming. White has tempting options instead of H4.
Mhm.
I mean, one is H4 for sure. The other is
Mhm.
A5. The other is B5. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, plenty of options for sure for white. What do you think? What do you think would be the best idea for white?
So for me, H4 is is kind of logical, but also like gives up the G4 square. So I feel like he's trying to like make as few decisions as possible, like to kind of keep the tension.
Yeah,
So I'd almost expect something like King G2 even, just like
yeah.
really slow. But for me, optically, it's like either A5 or B5 is where I would be kind of starting.
I also kind of like the idea of him not rushing with these, A5, B5 moves. I'm not sure if it's the right moment to play it, but I actually kind of like your King G2. Um, it's just a good move, good waiting move again. So now probably you're threatening H4 because then Bishop G4 is not a threat, I'd
Yeah,
say.
then Bishop H4, right? Like knight H2, just yeah,
Yeah, at
something like
least
that.
you have managed to.
Or other moves. Yeah, it could be like Bishop C4 too.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I guess I would think
Basically,
like King G2 F6, and
F6.
then hmm
Mm, yeah, it's possible. Then, yeah, it's very hard to resist not to push this pawn. So it's A5 or B5. Um,
right.
yeah, at first I didn't even consider B5. Like intuitively, I felt like this is not a way to play. But I start to feel like this could also be a very good option for white.
Yeah, one thing I was not, always not sure about is like, let's say if B5 black takes and goes like Rook D6.
Yeah, and then probably knight C4. I thought would be the move.
So knight C4. Let's say black just like takes this one.
Mhm.
Do you think this would now be like quite nice for white?
But probably now it's fine because there's not much you can do as white here. Probably yeah, probably now it's fine. But definitely it's something to
Okay.
be considered in like every
Hmm.
move you have to consider both B5 and A5. I actually had a very similar Endgame. I mean, not very similar though, but it was, yeah, 4 pawns on the king side, 2 pawns on the queen side. I had a game in World Cup against Hari Krishna, and I managed to outplay him with white. So yeah,
Mm.
definitely white has this long vision of outplaying black with these pawns on the queen side. Yeah, but yeah, it's hard to say. Like it's hard to know what the best plan is for white here. I'm not really sure about the white's plan here.
Yeah. Um, we'll see. I mean, I know Gary's an amazing endgame player, and I feel like you said, this is definitely kind of his style. Like he's won lots of these like dry endgames.
Yeah,
So I'm sure he'll be trying to here. And he kind of has to. Like the classical game's worth 3 points, so it's worth a lot in the match.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Hans is now up by 6, which is
Right.
huge. So if he draws this game, then Anish has to win the rapid section with +4 in order to win the whole match, which is very
Hmm.
difficult.
And how many
Um,
rapid games are there?
I'm not sure actually. Maybe 8. Um,
Games.
I
Hmm.
8. Yeah, 8 would make sense to me because classical was 6 games. Rapid, so Blitz was 12. So 8 or 10 would make sense to me.
It looks like chat's saying 6 rapid games. Yeah, so 2 points
Okay.
each basically means yeah, he has to win like +3 or something out of
Yeah,
6 games.
yeah. +3 would equalize the match, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Okay,
Hmm.
A5. So he does commit to this one. Um,
Makes sense. I would be surprised if we don't see knight c7 here. Knight c7 is
yeah,
very natural.
yeah, absolutely. And now I'm thinking White's idea is like knight A4, knight C5.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely considered it. Thing is that, yeah, actually, yeah, makes sense. I thought knight c5 would be met by some like b6, but thing is after b6 would actually be a mistake because then you don't necessarily have to take on b6. So
Right.
yeah, this knight a4, knight c5 is definitely something to be considered.
Yeah, king E7, knight C5, and
But thing is that again, I'm not sure what white is exactly doing here.
yeah, like what's the breakthrough?
So let's say something like f6 now,
Mm-hmm.
and then I want some
Mm-hmm.
like even knight h8, knight f7, knight d6,
Mm-hmm.
or knight f8, knight d7 for sure. Both look okay for black.
Yeah, yeah. Again, yeah. It's like is any of these pawn breaks are you're just kind of trading, and hmm. Yeah, he'll have to show something. Um, so A5, yeah, knight C7 looks like just the most logical by far. Um, not that you have to, but it's just like why wouldn't you after A5? Like what could the drawback be
I
even?
mean, I don't see the problem with also knight. I mean, yeah, I do kind of see the problem with knight d6. Thing is that then probably you can get the d file somehow, or even you're relying on knight d2 like one day. But
Mm-hmm.
knight c7 is just so clean. I don't know. It stops
Mm-hmm.
a6. It stops b5. You are controlling the squares. It's just something that, like, intuitively you play knight c7. You don't necessarily have to calculate. It's just knight belongs to c7, so you just play it.
Yeah. Well, Hans is up on the clock. He's got 20 minutes, so he's definitely in no rush. Um, but oh, King E7. Okay.
Yeah. Same. I also don't see the problem with it. Um, so the thing is that I believe in this endgame there are um couple of moves that eventually you have to play. One is this like king f7, king e8, king f8, king e7. The other move
Hmm.
that you have to eventually play is f6. The other move that you eventually have to play is knight c7. The other move is like routing the knight from g6 to f8, d7.
Right.
So I don't think there is a big difference between the order. Um, I'm sure also Hans always has this idea to play f6 and routing the knight. So yeah, I don't think the order really matters unless there is a very concrete way, where there is a concrete way for white to play, which I don't see it. So I don't see anything wrong with king e7. I think
Hmm.
it makes just perfect sense.
Yeah. I no, I like how you explained that. It's just like moves white has to play or black has to play. It's just like these improving moves.
Yeah.
And Hmm.
So the question is, how do we put pressure as white? Maybe
Yeah.
knight a4 followed by knight c5 would be nice. Maybe h4. Um, I don't think we necessarily want to trade the bishops.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bishop c4 is not possible here because of bishop h3 anyways. But
Mm-hmm. That's
um,
good.
it's actually a very important skill to learn, which is actually very, very difficult. Knowing which piece you have to trade and which piece you don't have to trade. Like you should not trade. It's
Mm.
something which is, I remember one of the, I mean, Fischer was very good at it, at knowing like when to trade the pieces, when not to trade the pieces. It's a very important skill to learn. Like for example, after h4, let's say what goes h4.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say black goes f6 because you want h5. Um, so do we want to play bishop c4? Do we want to trade the bishops? What is the answer to that? I would say no. I'm pretty sure the answer is no because then after you take, you go knight d6, and the knight comes to b5. It's actually very important to have the bishop on a front so that black almost never has this idea of going knight c7, knight b5 because I mean you can always take and ruin black's pawn structure.
Mm-hmm.
So white really needs the bishop on f1 to cover the light squares.
Right.
Um, so if bishop c4 is not the idea, I would assume h4 is one move that you almost always have to consider with the idea of later on h5, not h4. The
Yeah.
thing is that if you get the control over the light squares, so for example, you get h5, let's say, just put h5 on the board.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this
Yeah, let's
one
say knight f8,
here.
let's say go knight h4. So here, right now, the f5 square is very weak, g6 square is
Mm-hmm.
very weak, but these squares are covered by like the knight on f8 and the bishop on e6. The bishop on e6 is playing a huge role, huge defensive role for black. So right now, I would say it would be great to trade the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Right.
Because later on you have knight f5 or knight g6, and these light squares are very weak. So now, if you get this h4, h5, then you have to trade the bishops. But before that, you don't have to, like you should not. So yeah, it's I think it's very important thing to know. Like you don't always have to calculate in such endgames. You just have to know like which piece should you trade, like where does your pieces belong. Like do you want your knight on g6, f5, like which piece is not really playing. You have to think like that rather than just calculating each and every move.
Yeah. Good stuff. I feel like it's so tricky in endgames, like especially for me, like equal endgames, like let's say knowing where you'll have the best chances. I think it's not definitely not straightforward.
Mhm.
Oh, look, let me just update. He did play knight a4 and knight c7 quickly from Hans. So yeah, Hans is just making his moves. Um, but knight
I
a4, all
really
right.
like h4, honestly. I really liked h4.
Hmm.
I didn't like knight a4 much.
Hmm.
Unless it's bad because of bishop g4. This, I don't know. I understand the idea of knight a4, of course, but I'm not sure if that's the best way to play.
Yeah,
I mean, because knight on b6 was also doing fine. So
right.
yeah, but this knight a4 knight c5 is also very understandable.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wasn't seeing like a long term future with the knight on b6. It's just kind of sitting there. Um, so I guess he wants to try like knight c5. Black. I don't know. Do you think black keeps the bishop or just brings it back to c8?
Well, I don't think you have to bring it back. I think piece activity is more important.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so after knight c5, I would expect some like f6.
Right.
Then I mean, you have to eventually. I mean, knight and g6 is the most useless
Yeah.
piece.
Right.
You have to get a knight on f8 or h8
One,
to
two,
just
yeah.
bring it back to the game. So after knight c5, I would expect f6.
Or even like f6 here. Is there? Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's white's turn. So yeah, knight c5, f6,
Mhm.
and yeah. But Gary, he's thinking again. It's like I don't know if he's just being very patient or if he's a little bit unsure of uh, of what he wants to do. Maybe he just senses like he might get one chance, but like he'll have to be very precise, and so he's just trying to like check every move to see if he has something.
Yeah. Do you have any questions from chat?
Let's see. Chat questions. Let's check in. I've been following chat.
Actually, how can I see the chat? Wait, I should check with my phone, right?
Yeah, so I believe there's 3 chats. You can go to twitch.tv/
But I
GMHans,
have
GMHans.
the Twitch app. So
Yeah, so you can pull up his stream on Twitch, and then the Twitch chat should be there.
I mean, I'm not a streamer. I don't really know these things well.
No worries. And then there's also the YouTube, which I'm also following, folks. I got Anish's YouTube up and Hans's.
Yeah. So do we have any questions from chat?
Let's see. I don't see any. Oh, okay. How
So far,
close
so far it's been a
in
very
rating?
educational stream. So sorry, what did you say?
Yeah. So the question was, how close is Hans to the top 10 in terms of rating?
Um, I didn't check his rating.
Might be a better question for Google or
Oh yeah.
2700chess.com, guys. That's the best website, I think, to follow live ratings.
Hans is number 24 now. Um, yeah, top 10 is not very easy. It takes a while to get there, but very doable for sure.
And Rick, okay, Rick EC1. So that's what Giri was thinking about. And interesting. So I guess he's like leaving his options open. It still feels like he wants knight c5, but now does he have any like b5 ideas? Is that the point?
No, I don't see it happening. I think you just have to block blockade these pawns on like c6, b7, and eventually you'll have like knight c5 and try not to put pressure. b5 is yeah, I don't see it happening. At least in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just f6. Hans doesn't see the issue. He's just made all the moves where you were saying like f6, king e7, knight c7. And now, okay. Once again, White's turn. Anish has to kind of show the plan here. Yeah, let's see. Could there be any like 91, 93 type thing? But even there, yeah,
So
it doesn't look so
91,
impressive.
93. I was muted. I didn't realize. So 91, 93. Yeah, maybe it's possible. Yeah, why not? But 91, can I go rook d4?
Yeah, I mean, it's allowing, the rook tenor, rook d4, rook d2.
So rook d4 is a double attack. Maybe knight d3, not rook d4. Not sure. But,
Yeah, I have a feeling he's not going to want to allow the rook tenor. But now that black has played f6, now white's knight on f3 is definitely like not well placed. Yeah, so he at some point he'll have to try to fix it.
yeah, at some point you have to reroute the knight for sure.
Why not b5 now? So I think knight b5 is the issue.
Yeah.
And then you can take, pawn takes, and we gave up the pawn. I don't think there's any real compensation here, unfortunately. So that one's basically not working.
Hans versus the world is wild. Who is next to be toasted by Hans after Anish? It's gonna be, I think, Vityago. Not that he's gonna be toasted. Hell, no, but
Well, he's been winning every match. I mean, yeah, it's
yeah,
been
yeah. I mean, this one is the toughest match, I think, for sure, and he's doing great so far. So why wouldn't he win all the matches?
Yeah, confidence, I'm sure, should be high. And king g2. Okay. So just keeping the pressure. Now we would expect this knight to start jumping around because it's really not doing anything on g6 anymore.
Well, one
I
thing
liked your
that
knight h8, knight f7. That looks
yeah,
very
yeah, that looks very interesting. Yeah, for sure.
okay.
Knight
Knight
f8.
f8.
Yeah, as I pointed out earlier, these are the moves that you eventually have to play, and we can see them happening on the board right now. The reason behind King G2, I think, was that Anish wants to play knight h4 here. So he was anticipating knight f8, and now I
Mm-hmm.
think it can be met by knight h4. I think that's Anish's idea.
Mm. And then if black goes g5, do you come in?
I think so. I think knight f5 for sure. And then
And
take, and then later on you have like bishop c4, like knight
yeah.
c5. You have uh, this control over this e6 square and e4 square. Yeah, yeah. I don't like
Mm.
g5 at all.
Right.
But yeah, but you don't necessarily have to go g5. You can maybe wait. But I don't know actually how. It's a bit tricky now. Because anyways, what so what did he play? Did he go knight h4?
Knight c5 played.
Oh, knight c5. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, he's holding on for knight h4. Because I think you're exactly right. I think that's the reason why he didn't play h4 is because maybe he wants the option of knight h4.
Yeah, but now I don't understand what happens after knight d7.
Right. That definitely feels
So
like the most
thing is
obvious.
that I'm very quick with knight d4 the next move. So let's say knight d7, knight d6.
Hmm.
Can you like put it? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
66. Whoa, it's actually a bad move. I actually didn't realize that. So knight takes e6. I think it's just
Mhm.
bad because of bishop c4. Yeah, yeah. I think white is doing great now. Because now if I go knight d4, you
Mhm.
take and you go f4, which is like horrible for black. Um, so yeah, probably maybe you have to retreat the bishop to f7 after
Mhm.
after knight c5. But he made his move already.
Oh yeah, bishop f7 played.
Yeah, good. Um,
But now knight h4 comes. What's the
yeah, knight
plan?
h4
Is it just g6?
or knight e6.
Oh, like knight fe6, yeah.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, these positions are not super easy, but yeah,
interesting. I mean, at least white's knights are now kind of jumping around, and white gets to fix the f knight. So here and yeah, I don't know. I would think white has made some progress, but maybe it's something special. Black is ready to just trade and bring the other knight. Hmm. So bishop f7. Hans has been playing fast too. Have you noticed in the other games? Is he usually up on the clock or?
yeah. That was his match strategy, I think. To
Hmm.
just be ahead on the time. Um,
Interesting.
I don't see Hanish doing anything in this game, honestly. Like knight comes to e6. I think it's just completely holdable for black.
Yeah. Yeah. This knight h4, knight f5 didn't look like much. Now knight e6 is coming, and yeah. Pressure's on Anish to kind of come up with something here. I don't see it. Um, let's see. When's f4 coming? Question from the chat. I mean, f4 could be a thing in the distant future.
Yeah, for sure,
Um,
for sure. It's a very typical idea. Knight is for f4 is a very typical idea.
yeah.
Um, but it's just black has 96 to stop f4. Also, one thing you always have to watch out just is that after f4, black usually, I mean, not here for sure, But whenever white goes f4, you always can take on f4 and then go g5, and then later on you will have this outpost on e5, which is a very typical theme for black to
Hmm.
respond to f4. So, but yeah, I don't see f4 happening. I see knight h4 happening, to be honest, and knight e6, and then some like, I don't know, take or knight f5, and then later on bishop c4. Um, maybe check king f8.
Hmm.
I don't know how to, maybe bishop c4.
Yeah.
The thing is that after knight c5, bc5, I'm claiming that I have this powerful score on d6. So later on my knight can jump on d6. But yeah, I don't see. Because the thing is that, so for example, bishop c4, rook c4, and then knight a6.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so whenever you go knight d6, it will be met by knight takes c5. Um,
Okay.
that's the
Yeah, knight
whole.
h4 played, by the way. Well, it
Yeah,
looks like he went, I think he might have just gone g6 quickly, too. So again, Han's just like barely thinking.
g6. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm a bit surprised by this decision.
Yeah, a
Feel
couple of people
like-
in chat were saying this, like just g6 and then 96 anyway. Um,
well, yeah, but it's a bit weakening for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because now you will no longer have g5. Like like this g6 one is almost weak forever. I don't see f4 happening here because of ef and then knight e6. I think.
Hmm.
Um, don't know, not entirely sure. Yeah, actually, it's not good because takes and then knight e6, and after you take, then f5 will be met by. Maybe you can put it on the board. So let's say
Yes,
f4.
f4.
I mean, there is also rook d2 probably at some point, but
Right.
like let's say here knight e6, uh,
Hmm.
takes knight takes f5 if you play. It's very bad, I think, because of knight f4 check. And then wherever you move the king, I will push g5 next move. And
Right.
it's just, in my opinion, it's great for black.
Yeah,
Uh,
black looks, yeah, active. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Um,
Okay, bishop c4. Okay, so Anish decides now is the time to trade. And wow, bishop e8 from Hans.
wow.
That one feels fast, like even like really fast. Like he
He's
was
playing
just
extremely
ready.
fast. He doesn't have to, but he's playing fast and good chess for sure.
But trading bishops for black was obviously bad there. He didn't like that.
Not obviously, but it wouldn't make sense. I mean, g6 with bishop e8 makes sense, but g6
Uh-huh.
with bishop takes c4 doesn't make sense because this g6 pawn is weak forever. And but yeah, bishop
Mm,
e8 makes sense. So now you want to play 96, and yeah,
well,
basically you're claiming that white has nothing on the queen side, nothing on the king side, nothing on the center. Next move is just going to be 96, and yeah, I'm just doing fine, completely fine.
yeah, g5 knight f5 would be wild.
It's actually hard to see white's next move. I don't really know what white should do here. Like, do we opt for f4 at some point, or
f4 definitely looks like one idea. Um, yeah, I was just thinking if there's a way to prepare f4 somehow, but
yeah, someone said in the chat like g5, knight f5 is mate. Yeah, it's a good
yeah,
point. It's actually mate.
beautiful.
Just like check.
Maybe let's say f4, and then you're thinking black takes and 96. And then maybe
Someone says Hans definitely eats Orme Sabzi to receive energy for playing several classical matches per day. I'm actually surprised how people know because this is an Iranian traditional food, Orme Sabzi. I'm surprised chat knows about it.
chat is very smart. They know everything.
Yeah, they do. So what are we gonna see from Anish now? Is he gonna play rook d1? Is he gonna? What is gonna be his plan here?
Yeah, like rook d1 looks very natural. F4 felt like risky, but F4 also feels logical. Like now that black played like bishop e8, and I don't know, the pieces are a bit on the
I think
back
that you
rank.
always have to be careful about his rook d2 check, which I
Yeah.
don't think it's working. But I mean, not that it doesn't work, but it's pointless. You just move the king, and then what? F4 is definitely something to be considered.
Yeah.
Maybe you can put it on the board. Just
Mhm.
F4. I don't see the problem with it. F4 looks very nice. You don't have G5. Maybe he'll just go knight d6.
Mhm.
But then maybe you can take and go F5. That could be an issue. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that looks super annoying for black.
I mean, definitely Hans didn't like equalize in the most uh, simple way or the most comfortable way. He's playing
Mhm.
it a bit weirdly, um, and it gives white some chances for sure. But objectively, black is just fine.
Yeah. But yeah, after F4, feels like you'll have to find something concrete. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would feel a lot of pressure here as black. Um, yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
because it feels like F5 is coming, or FE. Let's see. Now Giri is under 30 minutes, so yeah, he has to make some decisions soon here.
Yeah. Someone in chat keeps asking, "Do you know Taimur Koibakarov?" I mean, yeah, I know, but why? The guy just keeps asking for like I don't know, 10 times. Yeah, he's a very good grandmaster. I don't. Well, I don't see anything else beside f4. I think that's the way to play if white wants to put any pressure on black. But maybe Anish is already feeling the pressure because Hans is playing extremely fast. He's very low on the clock.
Is someone in the chat saying they saw Jan Timman in the background, which would be interesting. I haven't seen him, but I'll keep an eye out. Maybe
Yeah.
it's possible. Yeah, other than F4, I would only see like some kind of prophylactic move like Rook C2 or Rook D1. But these moves allow black to play knight e6, and then you don't get F4 so easily. So it kind of feels like this might be the moment to play it. Oh, they're saying top left. Camera's kind of small for me. Yeah, it's hard for me to make it out.
Someone says, ever since someone said Amin looks like Aiden Rust, I can't unsee it. What do you think? I actually get it a lot. Many people say that I look like Aiden Rust. Like, chat, what do you think? Do you guys think I look like Aiden Rust?
It's funny.
What do you think? Cause yeah,
I wasn't. I know what that is. I wasn't thinking Aiden Ross, but yeah, now that you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see
yeah.
that.
not with this beard though. Probably maybe I should just have a stubble instead of this. With a stubble, I would look more like Aiden Ross.
But yeah, if you wanted to be, yeah, Aiden Ross lookalike or imposter, you could do it. So funny. Um, Oof. Okay, 25 minutes for Anish. I feel like this is soon it's going to be critical. He's just going to be in time trouble. And there's so many pieces still on the board. I feel like we're going to see F4 here. I just think like the longer he thinks, the more.
Do you think there is a chance that White loses this game?
I mean, there's always a chance, right? It especially especially if you play F4. It's like you're so extended, and with like the time situation, the match situation. Um, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say. I imagine Gary's not very happy, right? Like he's behind in the
Yeah,
match, so
yeah. And I
mentally.
think I know Hans very well. He feels very confident in these symmetrical positions. He
Mm,
had a game against Kirill Alexenko and
hmm
Sitges, a very similar pawn structure, and he completely outplayed him.
mm,
And like he played extremely well. So I had seen games from Hans in a very similar position, like almost the same pawn structure, and he was playing like extremely well. And even here, objectively, he played great so far. And he also is putting pressure on the clock. So I don't think it's unlikely to see him winning the game. I mean,
hmm
well, it is unlikely, but I'm saying like it's possible. Um, Considering how much Anish is spending, how much time Anish is spending. Um, yeah, I mean, he has to definitely make up his mind and play a lot quicker. Thing about Anish is that I think he's just used to have this additional 30 minutes after 40 moves. The tournaments that he plays, usually almost always you get additional 30 minutes after 40 moves. But here,
right.
other rounds, and he has to like speed up, he has to play quicker. But yeah, he just didn't seem to adjust to the time control, the way the tournament is, like double rounds and there's just no additional time. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I was
definitely,
wondering if the
not
double
very,
round
very,
is
very
a
time
problem.
managed by Anish. He
Hmm
seemed to have the same issue in previous games, but yeah, I mean he has to definitely speed up. I mean he's not gonna win this end game. I mean this end game is complicated enough that you need some time, right? He cannot outplay Hans here with having like I don't know 10 minutes left on the clock. Um,
Yeah,
you need time to be able to outplay your opponent.
yeah. I mean, it'll get sharp, and then there won't be time to calculate. He'll just have to play by feel.
Mhm.
In Yeah, it could be a really complicated situation. Um, Yeah, I do wonder if the 2 games a day is bothering Anish because okay, Hans he grew up playing tournaments, so he's I'm sure used to it. But Anish, like, probably it's been a while, right? Like, when's the last time he played 2 classical games a day in an
Exactly,
event?
exactly. I was saying it in the previous stream with Brandon. I don't actually know how many years ago was it when he played double round. Probably like even 10 years ago. Like because Anish was a top player for like I don't know many years,
Yeah.
and they usually don't play in like double rounds events. So yeah, probably many years ago. But for Hans, it was just a couple months ago in Grenke. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely an advantage for Hans.
Yeah. Personally, I hate 2 games a day. It's just like the second game is rarely fun. You're just like exhausted because you're like just tired from the first game. You're still thinking about the first game, yeah, especially if it was a long game. And
Mhm.
and then yeah, now you have to get all your energy back for a full second game. Very tough.
Have a move and a very weird one. Um,
Knight of three.
hmm.
I guess he's saying like, okay, I got you to play g6, so I'm happy now, and I'll bring my knight back.
um, well, I have a different view on it. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's like, damn, my plan didn't work. I will give up on it. Let's just make a draw. you know. Because
Oh, I
knight
see.
f3, like you don't play knight h4 and after g6 go back. It's just you don't play like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
f4 should have been considered. I'm sure Anish considered it, but he didn't like it
Oh,
for some reasons.
oh, draw agreed.
Try agree. Yeah,
Oh, he offered a
exactly.
draw. Wow, you
It was
called it.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was a sign of a defeat. Like knight f3 is like okay, I'm good. I can't do it. Well, boring game. But yeah, definitely a great result for Hans. And now he just has to do normal. He just has to play normally in rapid, and the match victory is gonna be secured. He's up by 6. I mean, in order to equal the match, Anish has to win like by +3, which
Hmm.
is very difficult. I mean, Anish had his best chance in classical, in my opinion, and he lost even in classical. So yeah, I'm not very optimistic for Anish's chances. Can we get Hans?
I we'll see. Um, but yeah, definitely big score for him. So he ends up winning the classical uh, by 2 points. Is that right? Or did you mention Anish won a classical game?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I was like,
So Hans, did he win the classical by two?
no, by one.
By one. So
But it
Anish won
counts
one
three
classical game.
points. Well, it counts 3 points in classical. So every
Hmm.
win counts 3 points. So he won the classical by +1 score, so he's up by 3. And also blitz, like every game counts 1 point. So in the end of the match, he was up by 3, so another 3 points. So he's up by
Got it.
6 right now. And every rapid game counts 2 points. So yeah,
Hmm.
in order to equal the match, he has to win by 3. Back in rapid section.
Right. So basically, yeah, 4.5, 1.5 is what Anish needs in the rapid to equalize, and then he needs better to win. I mean, it Hans has been playing great, but it's still Anish Giri, so I imagine like he still has a chance. Um,
Obviously, Anish is a fantastic chess player. You should never, ever underestimate these guys. Anish is a fantastic chess player. Big respect to him. He's been a well-established top player for many years. So yeah, you can never relax against these guys. And yeah, I'm sure he will put up a great fight tomorrow. Um,
will it
yeah,
be all
we'll
six
see
games
what's gonna happen.
for tomorrow? All six rapid games?
Sorry?
Are they playing all six games tomorrow?
Yeah. I'm
Or
pretty sure they're gonna play tomorrow. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, I guess we'll see if we can get Hans on. Looks like they're still discussing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anish is saying something about this G6. Like, yeah, I thought this G6 was terrible, but turns out not so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I was expecting
So,
Anish to go. It's actually very surprising. Anish had his best winning chances with black in this match.
mhm.
He lost one game with white. This game, he had nothing. And the other game also, it was barely in defense. Nothing. So he didn't show anything with white. But he won one game with black. In the morning, he had I wouldn't say winning position, but a much better position. And yeah, so he got 2 chances with black, 0 chances with white, which is kind of surprising.
Mm. Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, I bet he's upset that he didn't win this morning. Probably affected him for this game.
Hmm.
So, yeah, one more day tomorrow. And do you know what time the rapid will start?
I don't know. I have no idea. Chat, like maybe
I'm
chat
sure
can help
people
us.
will want to tune in. Let's see. Yeah, we'll find out. They're signing the score sheets. And now the arbiter is talking to Hans. I wonder what they're discussing.
Are they still? They're still discussing it.
Yeah, it seems like they're talking to the arbiter about something.
Yeah, yeah, I see it. Probably are talking about like tomorrow's match, I guess.
There's a kid in the back that looks like Vince Keimer. I'm pretty sure it's not him, but he has like a similar haircut.
Hmm, I see. So, what do you see Anish's chances for winning the whole match?
Feels like Hans has good chances. I mean, he's winning everything. I would put the odds maybe like 85% for Hans, maybe
Oh wow.
higher. Well, yeah, what do you think?
Um, I didn't expect that. Yeah. Well, yeah, probably. Actually, that makes sense. Probably like 80 to, yeah, I would say 80 to 85. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not good at
One to
calling
five,
odds.
1 out of 5, he can probably do it. But
Yeah, 1 out of 5. Yeah, Anish can come back. Yeah, I mean he'll have to have just a brilliant day.
yeah,
Um,
75 to 80, I would say.
right. And then there's multiple matches. Yeah, so you mentioned he's playing Vitugov next. I know he's playing Bakro as well at some point. Um,
When does Hans play Magnus in speeches? I think it's 6th of uh, September.
yeah, September 6th, I think exactly.
Yeah.
Um, that'll be exciting. You looking forward to that match?
Uh, yeah, for sure. I think anybody's waiting for that match. Yeah, super excited for sure.
That
Um,
match will probably break some records for viewership. I
yeah,
like.
for sure, for sure.
I
Definitely.
mean, yeah, like I got friends who don't follow chess, but they'll ask me about Hans, from time to time.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like,
that definitely is gonna break some record.
it's, yeah, very exciting and good practice for Hans. I mean, all the way up to the big boss.
Yeah, I think most people were not expecting this to happen. They were not expecting him beating MVL. They were not expecting him beating Wesley. I mean, after he beat MVL, people were starting to believe in him more. But
Hmm.
yeah, many people thought like many people thought that he was the huge underdog in those matches. But yeah, he proved himself.
Yeah,
And to point it out, there was a proctor in both of matches. So for people, who like to say like things whenever he does like good, whenever he wins games, they like to like insinuate stuff. There was a proctor there. So yeah, it just proves that he is just a great chess player, and we'll definitely see a lot more from him in the future.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, those are some great matches. Oh, looks like all right, they left the room.
So let's see if
Should
we
yeah,
can get hot.
spectators. Yeah. Um, oh, we'll get his audio. All right, great. Great. So he'll join us soon, folks, looks like. Discuss the game. I guess if you guys have questions for Hans, you can let us know and we'll relay
Yeah, just ask the
the good
questions.
ones.
We'll ask Hans. He's not replying. Let's see. Oh well, he's still on the board. They're still talking to the arbiter. I don't.
Oh, yeah, I just saw him on the camera. Said something to the arbiter. think double checking whether white goes first in rapid.
Yeah, I think they're choosing the color.
Oh, next match, folks, you can check out gmhans.com/events. That's good.
So what's Hans's next tournament? I think it's gonna be this match against Vityugov.
And that's in London.
And what
It's
is the
also
date?
cool how he's
Do
doing
you know
this
the
like
date?
European tour. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
Do you know the dates of his match against Vityugov?
No, I do not. But I bet gmhans.com knows.
Yeah, guys, make sure you check out the website. I forgot to mention it. Make sure to check out the website if if you enjoy chess, if you love chess, if you want to improve.
Oh, here
Just
we go. Got everything. Yeah, so he's playing Vitukov in London
great
starting
website.
on August 14.
Okay.
August 14 to 18. And
Yeah.
then 2 days after that, he'll play Bacro at Blitz Society in Paris.
hmm
Oh, that's cool. Have you ever been to Blitz Society or Paris?
Never.
Okay, I got to. I visited it not too long ago, 2 months ago, and it was cool. It's like this bar where they've got a bunch of chessboards set up,
Oh, that's cool.
and it's a nice scene. Yeah, people come. There's like a bunch of people playing chess there, and they got like food and drinks. Although it's a very, I mean, it's a bar, so I I'm wondering. I don't know if they're gonna do like a classical match as well. It'll be a
Yeah,
little weird
that's
to
in
do
the bar
classical.
for sure.
Yeah, Blitz would totally,
Is this
totally be
match
cool.
over? No, they're gonna play tomorrow. A rapid match. After tomorrow is gonna be over.
Yeah, tomorrow's the last day.
Yeah, Hans is up 3 points from Blitz and 3 points from Classical True.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Looks like everyone's left the room. So we're just waiting on Hans to maybe join.
Chat, write your questions for Hans if you have any questions.
Yeah, so far I haven't seen any real questions. Although nothing that we haven't answered so far, like when's the next match and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
How does Hans have so much energy? I don't know.
okay, here's a good question. Are they going to play out all 6 games if Hans wins the match, like early on?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it makes sense that they would just end the match once it's over. How does Hans have so much energy? Okay, yeah, maybe that's a good question because he's been playing so much. Like he was playing this match during the SEC, which is crazy.
Huh.
Yeah, how about you, Amin? When are you playing next?
So my next tournament is in a couple of days. I'm gonna play Abu Dhabi Chess Festival.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
it's 15th. So yeah.
And then are you playing Olympiad?
Yeah, for sure. We have a very promising team as well. It's me,
Nice.
Parham, Puya, and Bard. I mean, we have very like talented like players, Bardian, Sino Movahed. Yeah, I'm very, very optimistic this year. Yeah, we'll see what happens. A very young
Nice.
team.
Very cool. Yeah, Olympiad's my favorite event. It's so interesting
Yeah,
to
for
follow.
sure.
Nice.
I'm not sure if we can get Hans. He's not replying.
Okay.
Someone said to you that you must be thrilled with how your junior team is doing. What's the
Yeah,
story?
I'll tell the story. So on my channel, Chess Dojo, last I think October, we basically did a draft where we picked um, one by one all the top junior players, and then the idea was to see who will be the highest rated in 1 year.
Hmm.
And so on my team, I got Noterbeck was my first pick, and I got I think Gukesh as well. And then Hans was my third choice.
Yeah, very good, very good.
So
Good
they've
choice.
all gone way up. Yeah.
Yeah, great choices, great picks.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit lucky. So like Grandmaster Jesse, he got the first pick, and of course he picked Faruja because at the time Faruja was like he was way above everyone.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out. And then I had the second pick, and then I went with Notre Dame. And back then it wasn't so obvious. I mean, all the juniors were doing really well, but they hadn't broken through yet. So it wasn't.
Hmm. Yeah, I see.
mm,
Hans, who's your favorite chess player of all time? I think this is an easy question. Everyone knows the answer.
yeah.
Uh, you know the answer?
I would guess it's Fisher based on
Yeah,
everything Hans
definitely,
says.
definitely Fischer.
Do you have a favorite player?
Not really. Well, I would say some maybe Morphe,
Oh,
uh,
okay. Yeah.
or Tall, like these, like very sharp, dynamic, like these players. Yeah, they're my favorite players. Well, back
Nice.
then I would say, at my childhood, it was like for sure Morphe.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Interesting.
Now that I know he made so many mistakes, now that I realize he made many mistakes. But yeah, Morphe is
Yeah.
with my pick.
How would you estimate Morphe's strength? Because people are always discussing this.
Like, I think these days it would have been if he was at this time, would have been like 2400, 23, 2400.
Cool. Yeah. Um, do you think you're as strong as Morphe? Funny question.
Who,
Uh,
me?
yeah, that was the question from the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think yeah. Although I would never beat him out of respect if it was possible. But okay.
Yeah. It's an interesting question. If you went back in time, like when do you think you could? What would be the latest year that you think you could compete for the world championship? That makes sense. Like,
Um, like I think I can even compete now, but
yeah,
yeah, But like,
yeah, fair enough.
I would say, okay, okay. Some people would be probably upset, but I think even with the knowledge these days compared to the knowledge like back then, we're like way ahead. Like I
Right.
know, like we had geniuses like Capablanca or Alakai, but with their like old knowledge, like it's impossible to compete. I think.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I mean, I have a huge respect for the older players, of course, because they just like contributed so much to the game. But yeah, it's weird for me when people compare modern players to older ones because it's like, I don't know. I think the modern players would just
Yeah,
crush
chess
them.
has changed so much. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Fischer is one of the greatest players of all time, but I think like Fischer, even at his prime back then, if Fabi could play a match against him, I think Fabi was the favorite for sure with this knowledge these days.
Like huge
Even though
favorite, right?
Fischer is like the greatest, probably the greatest of all time, but the chess has changed so much that he cannot even compare.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, Fabi would definitely be the favorite. I mean,
Yeah.
if you played chess 960 versus Morphy, would you win? Of course. Um, I mean, yeah. I mean, chess has changed. Like there, I mean, not only in terms of opening, but also in terms of knowledge, like end games,
Hmm.
like many different like pattern recognition. Like there are many like tactic patterns that back then people didn't know about it.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And then people always asking like, well, what if Fisher or Morphy grew up these days with like today's technology? I don't know, guys. I mean, it kind of feels like a different skill, like learning chess when there was like no engines and like not a lot of stuff to study versus learning chess when now we have like tons of resources. Um,
sorry, can you guys hear me?
mhm.
Yes, some connection issues. Am I back?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, you cannot even compare. Like back then, I mean, they were great. Like at their time, if they were like at this time, they would also probably be great. So you would never know.
Yeah, yeah, impossible to say. Um,
Okay, okay, Hans is calling me.
oh,
Okay,
great.
Hans. Yeah, we're live. Okay, Hans. So we're live. Chat is hearing you.
Okay. Yes.
Can you tell us about your game?
Say it again.
Can you tell us about your game?
Yeah, the game was pretty boring. But was falling asleep at the board. Very happy that it's over. So very happy with the match. Big lead going in tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll finish them off.
Great. I'm wondering
How did I play?
how you played great. I'm just
Really?
yeah. Can chat hear us?
Say it again.
Well, I'm talking. Can chat hear us? Okay, good. So yeah, you played a great game. Just how do you see your chances for tomorrow? I mean, obviously you have a big
I
lead.
do. Well, I have like a 3 game lead in the rapid, so I think I'll win. I just so I'm 6 points ahead. So each rapid game is 2 points. So I definitely should win tomorrow, unless there's a complete disaster.
Do you have any specific match strategy?
To win more games, my rapid rating needs to go up.
Okay, I see. So, Costa, do you have any questions?
Um, let's see.
Let's read some questions from chat.
Chat. Yeah. About
Hans, at the end, did you ever feel like maybe you have to continue, like after he dropped back the knight to f3?
No, I was so tired. I wasn't gonna continue. So dead.
I see.
yeah,
But
there was a
still, you
question.
played.
There was a question for Hans about his energy. How does he feel about like the 2 games per day? And does he feel like he has an edge here because he's more used to it?
Yeah, I think I have an edge because I'm experienced in it. However, considering that I just came from Kazakhstan, I was literally following. Like I could feel my eyes closing at the board. I do think in general I'd be a favorite, but here my energy levels weren't there. But I'm sure after a couple of days I'll be ready for London. And Anish is obviously a very difficult player to play against. It demands a lot of focus especially in the openings and in the middle game.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Okay, I'm gonna do chunks, but so thank you guys for doing commentary.
Sure.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Hans. Thank you for joining us.
See you soon.
Good luck.
All right. So finally, we got the interview with Hans. Yeah, he's doing great. Honestly, I wouldn't say I'm surprised by his performance, but I mean, he's showing indefatigability. Like he's not tired. He's, I mean, so much energy, which is crazy.
Yeah, most surprising thing he said was just like, "Oh, the game was boring." It's just like, like I thought he was under a little bit of pressure, but no, he's like, no problem. He just held it.
I mean, that's him. Yeah, as long as game goes well, it's all good.
All good.
Do you have any more
Cool.
questions from chat?
Let's see. I think well, I think that's it. I mean, we
Yeah.
lost funds. There was a sub, Natural Poopy. Thanks for subbing.
Yeah, thanks for the sub. Well, I think that now we're good to go. We got the interview.
Yeah, I think we'll end it there. Guys, the match will be continuing tomorrow with the rapid games, so tune in for that. And yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. It's been a great day. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the game, and make sure you check out the gmhunts.com. Great website. And thanks for joining.
Yeah, see you all. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you. See you.